Am I the a-hole for accidentally announcing my pregnancy at my sister's wedding and not apologizing? Backstory on me and my sister is that we've always had a competitive relationship. My therapist says we were put in competition against each other as kids by our parents, and that's carried over as adults. 6 months ago I sat down with my sister and we agreed that it's f***ed up how we both acted, and we want to be loving sisters who aren't constantly trying to get one over on each other, and we came to a truce. She got married today. I'm 4+ months pregnant, so there's a baby bump. The dress I bought a few months ago with my sister was now clinging to said bump, so I changed my outfit to a loose blouse and slacks to hide it, which worked, and texted her a picture of the new outfit along with a lie about spilling wine on the dress. She approved the new outfit. Once there, an aunt comes over to talk to me and comments on me not drinking. I panicked and grabbed a glass of champagne and she left. When I thought no one was looking, I gave my glass to my husband to take a sip from, so it would look like I'd had some. Dad then comes over and says something wrong with the champagne. I say it's fine. Dad says take a sip then. I hesitate and he says you're not pregnant, are you? I go please don't say anything. It's sister's big day and we are waiting to tell people. He says he won't. Barely 5 minutes later another aunt comes over and congratulates us with tears in her eyes and hugs me. I know I should have said dad was wrong, but she was literally crying, so I tell her we are trying to keep it quiet because it's not our day, and she nods, hugs me again, and leaves. What follows is basically every one of my family members congratulating us. I can see my sister getting upset. So I go over and explained what happened and say we really didn't mean to do this. My sister says that it's probably for the best that we leave, so we do. I get home, go on social media, and just about every post from my relatives is something like sister's wedding was lovely and thrilled to hear about Op being pregnant. And now my sister has privately messaged me saying so much for not one-upping each other, and you couldn't let me have one day. I told her it was an accident, but she says I could have done more to hide it, and then she sends another message basically saying she can't believe I've not even apologized for causing a scene at her wedding. It's true I haven't apologized, but I feel like I went to great lengths to not tell people. It's not my fault they found out, and I'm being made to feel like I did something wrong when I took precautions on my end. Am I the a-hole for not apologizing for accidentally announcing my pregnancy? Edit. I was planning on telling my family about the pregnancy, but didn't want to say anything for the first few months as I've had a miscarriage previously and wanted to be sure this time before telling them. We planned to invite them over in a couple weeks after my sister got back from her honeymoon and then tell them. Thank you. Don't ask people if they are pregnant. Don't ask people why they are not drinking. Maybe they're on a new med. Maybe they're recovering from a drinking problem. Maybe they're on a diet. Maybe they've converted to a new religion. Maybe they had miscarriages like Op did and weren't comfortable announcing a pregnancy yet. None of these are urgently anyone else's business. Dad is #1 a-hole here. But Op, just give your sister an apology. Holding out on 2 simple words, I'm sorry, feels too reminiscent of the pettiness of the competition days you're trying to leave behind. Let go of the need to be right in the name of turning over a new leaf with your sister. After you say just, I'm sorry, feel free to also take a vulnerable moment with her and spill your guts about how much your dad and aunts hurt you. You tried so hard to be discreet to do right by her, and they thoughtlessly and carelessly trampled over your feelings and explicit requests. It's so painful when someone pries you in why you're not drinking in the first place, then they disregarded 2 instructions and put a wedge between you and your newly reconciled sister. Share that pain with her, if only as a way of elaborating on your apology that you didn't want to hurt her and yet, by tragic irony, were made to hurt her anyway. A soft everyone's the a-hole. Dad the most, but don't be stingy with an apology out of pride, even though your sister is honestly kind of being a little dense not to see the truth and to blame you instead. but it is her fault that her father caused a mess because she confirmed her pregnancy to him at the wedding. She shouldn't have done that from the jump. Tell a lie, roll your eyes at him, change that subject. Anything. OP alleges she went to great lengths to keep this from getting out at the wedding, but really she didn't. She cold made up any excuse for not drinking. Hell, she even lied to her sister about what happened to the dress she intended to wear to avoid telling her. Instead she confirmed her pregnancy to someone as soon as it was suggested and then relied on them to keep it a secret. That's a subpar effort as far as I'm concerned, and feels almost subconsciously purposeful. Especially because she didn't even feel a need to apologize. I'm sorry OP, your family sounds like they suck, but I still think you are ultimately responsible for this news being leaked. And you have no justification for not extending a proper apology to your sister. You're the a-hole. Some people freeze when put on the spot, especially when it's a secret. Op had time to plan what to do/say about the dress to her sister. When her aunt asked her, she hurriedly grabbed a glass. She had the foresight to her husband to take a drink of the champagne so it would look like she had some. But her father came and put her on the spot and asked her before she could come up with a lie, so she froze and immediately asked him not to say anything. I suppose, but this woman was showing and knew she'd be at a family event. The further along she is in her pregnancy, obviously the harder it is to keep this a secret. After 4 months she should been a pro. When I was pregnant, prior to announcing, I was paranoid someone might ask me at any given time, why aren't you drinking? Why are your clothes baggy? Why are you gaining weight? People are nebby. I think freezing up when put on the spot is a cop-out in this situation. She should been ready for someone to guess her news at any time. I stand by my original statement. OP did not put forth the good effort of keeping her pregnancy under wraps. That's your opinion. People can plan what they will say and still freeze when put on the spot. I've seen it happen. Helped someone with a presentation, asked them questions, and helped them prep answers. When presentation day came around, they froze on questions that we had gone over, and they even had notes in front of them to help answer it. It's actually very common. Just because you don't have that issue doesn't mean it's a cop-out. It just means you don't have that issue. Others do. That's like saying, because you can function through anxiety, everyone else should be able to as well. Everyone is different. You're the a-hole. I'm not sure about your story. Frankly, it sounds like bull. People don't walk around at weddings asking why people aren't drinking champagne, or why they handed it to somebody else for a sip. My guess is you actually made a big song and dance about not drinking until your dad asked you why. At which point you didn't even try to make excuses. That's far more realistic. You may have had good intentions by changing your outfit, but it sounds a lot like your competitive nature kicked in when you saw the spotlight on your sister. Edit. Okay, so apparently people did go around at weddings asking why people aren't drinking. That aside, I'm still convinced OP was drawing attention to the fact that she wasn't drinking. Considering how readily she admitted to being pregnant when asked, without even attempting to make an excuse, it sounds like she was waiting for it. Even if she didn't prompt it, I still think it's a big you're the a-hole for doing the one thing her sister didn't want her to do at the drop of a hat. You can stop telling me about every instance when you were asked why you aren't drinking. I believe you. Let's just focus on the bottom line here. OP absolutely did not have to admit she was pregnant, and yet she did. Now she refuses to apologize for that. She's trying to shift the blame to her dad, who did play an enormous part in this, but it all comes back to OP so very readily admitting she was pregnant without even trying to make excuses. Let me play out an alternate scenario for you. Dad, something wrong with the champagne? OP, I just don't feel like drinking today. Dad, are you pregnant? OP, no. It would be easy to just make up an excuse. In fact, she should have come armed with an excuse for when people inevitably asked why she wasn't drinking. Go to any pregnancy forum and you'll see a bajillion posts on excuses to give people for why you're not drinking. I've actually had a couple, and I'm starting to get a little buzz, so I'm slowing down. I'm on an antibiotic, so I'm actually not drinking tonight. This is an excuse she cold given from the get-go. More, I'm cutting back on the drinking. I'm actually a bit hungover from last night. I ate a lot, and the champagne is making me feel bloated. So many excuses. She cold also just pretended to take a sip. She could have started the night with a drink that looks like alcohol, egg a coke in a short glass with a lime, and slowly drank it. Lots of options for someone who really doesn't want to get found out. I managed to hide my pregnancy through multiple social events, including a one-to-one brunch date with a friend. OP didn't seem to try one of them. I think it's a case of trying to hide it and going through some of the motions, but also being so excited to share that you're pretty much bursting at the seams, and all it takes is for someone to ask. Not the a-hole. I don't understand all the "you're the a-hole" responses. You deliberately planned several ways to keep this a secret. You took steps to hide it, and it's not your fault your father outed you. How were you supposed to control his actions after you begged him to keep quiet? The people saying you should have lied aren't looking at the bigger picture. How are you supposed to come back from the lie when you do announce you are pregnant? Claim you didn't know? Admit you kept it a secret because it would have made your sister upset? That's going to destroy your relationship with her. That's not realistic way to handle this situation. Op cannot control her father's behavior or anyone else's. Her sister is coming after the wrong person. Her father is also the asshole for not clarifying that it was him who spread news of the pregnancy and it wasn't his news to share. She could have told people before the wedding, but she has a very valid reason for keeping a secret about her body quiet. She doesn't owe anyone information here. Sure, OP probably should apologize, but she isn't the a-hole. Her father is the a-hole, and it's his responsibility to clean this up. Accidentally, you admit to the competition. It's so bad a therapist has to comment on it. But this happened to be a time where you couldn't see the obvious conflict and sidestep it? I don't believe you, OP. I have sisters too. Edit. Fact is, we all know a baby will take center stage to any wedding, which is why you don't announce it at your sister's wedding. Everyone knows the not drinking implication. I've had to get around it being completely not pregnant. It was opportune to play it off like a hoopsie. Oh well, not sorry. You're the a-hole, and get more therapy. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. See you all later.